Hi everybody, it's the Soap Man and it's time to make some soap. And today I have a pretty easy plan in mind. As you've discovered by the title, I am going to fragrance this with orange cognac from Nurture Soap. This is a favorite, used it many times. It behaves like a dream in cold process. It smells great and it has a very, very strong scent retention. Love it, love it. So for the design, I'm planning just to do a simple drop pour. Half of it's going to be titanium dioxide white, and then the two accents will be orange, obviously. I'm using Nurture Soap's Orange Vibrance, but because that isn't real stable in cold process, I always like to bump this up with Brambleberries, Tangerine Wow, or some sort of potent neon. I'm just about out of this. I'll probably just start using my Mad Micah's neons when this is gone, but this takes such a small amount that'll last a good while yet. And then for the brown, I'm going to color it with cocoa powder. I actually stopped using this a long time ago for brown just because I have Mocha Brown from Nurture Soaps and it's a lot more reliable. I forgot to bring it home. It's at my soap lab at the church. But I have used cocoa powder many, many times. This is actually pure cacao powder. And this works very well as a brown pigment. It does have to go through gel phase, and then it has to be cut and exposed to the air, kind of like a darkening fragrance with a lot of vanillin in it. But once that goes through gel and then is cut and exposed to the air, it will be a nice, stable brown. So, half white, then a quarter of the color will be orange accent, and a quarter of the color will be cocoa powder for brown. I think that's enough talk, so let me get things mixed up and we will get started. Alright, let's get started. I'm just a little bit nervous because I'm using a lot of TD, so I did a steeper than normal water discount. I usually do a 10% water discount. I did 15%, which I often do when I'm using a lot of TD, and it works fine. I have let my oil and lye cool down to room temperature, and I usually cover the lye container so water doesn't evaporate overnight. I forgot to cover it, so this is even steeper than usual water discount. It's more than 15%. And we'll go ahead as usual. I know my batter behaves well when it's at room temperature, especially. I know the fragrance behaves like a dream. Let's see, but I do have a couple of alternatives just in case. You always should have a backup. I have my hanger swirl if I need to. I have my spoon if I need to change designs. So I'm just going to go ahead as usual. Let's get our TD blended in. All of these have to be stick blended because you know titanium dioxide has to be stick blended. Cocoa powder has to be stick blended. It doesn't stir in well. And neons have to be stick blended. They don't stir in well. So all of this has to be stick blended. And the fragrance behaves well once again, and it seems to be holding up okay. And you can see the cocoa is kind of like a medium brown, like a light milk chocolate. It'll stay that way until it gels and then gets cut and exposed to the air, and then it'll get really dark. Alright, now let's get a quarter of our fragrance in, and then I'm going to stick blend again to make sure that they're very well blended, especially the TD, the cocoa powder, and the neon. Yeah, and that's breaking it up, so I'm good. Even with a really heavy water discount, it's still fine because my batter behaves for one, I'm at room temperature for one. Most important, the fragrance behaves beautifully. So I do believe we're going to be fine. And once again, just to play it safe, I'm going to hit these with a stick blender to make sure everything's well emulsified and that all of our powders are well blended and don't have any lumps. So, there we go. So I'm going to start, first of all, by pouring all of one of the white containers in. And look how fluid it still is. A very heavy water discount, a lot of stick blending. Titanium dioxide's known for speeding up trace, and just look at that. I was nervous for nothing. Wow. All right, extremely fluid despite challenges. No problem at all, and that's largely because of a fragrance that behaves so well in cold process. Once again, I just can't say enough good about this fragrance, and most important of all, it holds its scent. So that's going to have to sit for quite a while before I dare do anything at all with it. This little bit of extra I'll just put into a spillover and have just a little small bar for whatever. And anyway, that's all I have for right now. I will spray this with alcohol. I'm going to let it sit up just a little bit and then squirt it again. I'm going to wrap it up to go through gel, and I'll see you tomorrow for the cut. Let's get an up close look at that because that top looks really nice. Alright, see you tomorrow. Okay, I'm back and it's time to cut our soap, and everything on the pour went just beautifully, just exactly according to plan. Because it stayed so nice and fluid the entire way through, I was able to get a nice top on it. So let's cut into it and see what we have. There we go. And see how the cacao powder really darkened up nicely? It'll probably darken up even more once it's exposed to the air. And also, let me show you gelled versus ungelled. So this is the brown with the cacao powder. You see that color? This is the one that I poured into a single mold. And there's the brown. This one did not gel. So look at how different gelled versus ungelled is. Now the orange is pretty vibrant. It's a little bit lighter than the gelled, but the cacao powder is really darkened. And I suspect it's going to darken even more after it's cut and exposed to the air. So I'll wait a day or two before I upload this to YouTube and see if it darkens even more, because I think it will. So there we have it. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. Really happy with the way the pour went and the end result. And one of my favorite fragrances. I just can't say enough good about it, how good it smells. Just standing here, 2 feet away from it, it really smells good. And it's only going to get better when it cures. And you see how well it behaves. So I'll get some pictures and I'll put one up probably tomorrow to compare and see how much darker that brown gets. But anyway, that's what I have this week. As always, thanks for watching. Stay safe, take good care of yourselves, and be blessed. Bye, everybody.